my friend Kelsey Corona here today
Hi.
to tell a very interesting story about sleep because sleep can be really boring, but it's very important. It can also be hard to approach because the common reaction is, well, I just can't get more sleep. I have kids, I have work, my brain won't shut down, all these different excuses, and it can be a little bit more simplified than that. Like, it doesn't always have to be more sleep. It can just be better sleep. So how do we get better sleep? But I brought Kelsey on today because she has a super interesting story about college and what lack of sleep can do to you. And I can go through a long list of what sleep does to your health and to your brain. Essentially, if you have ADHD, it's all the symptoms we have. Like brain fog, irritability, increased hunger, distractibility, all these things, but it also highly affects your health. I have my own personal story that I may talk about after we're done, but I want to hear Kelsey's story because when we were talking about it last year, I was like, I wish I was recording all of this. So give us a start.
Yeah, set the scene for you.
Yeah, set the scene for me.
Yeah, so I was telling Leah just like an anecdotal story about sleep a few months ago. And essentially it was during the time that I was in college. And so, that's like very stereotypical, like no one's sleeping in college because you're young and just think you're invincible.
Sip on coffee and whatever those workout pills were I used to take.
Oh my gosh.
Now probably
and
illegal.
Like, those 5-hour energies, have you ever had one of those?
No, but the pills I took were probably similar.
Probably. Yeah. So I was telling her about how when I was 18 and I was a freshman in college, I, for some reason, just like had it in my head, probably the sleep deprivation, I just had it in my head that it was so important that I like work as much as I could to make as much money as I could, to have like savings and all of that good stuff. And like, I don't know why I felt that like I had to have like $5,000 in a savings account as an 18-year-old, but I just like felt like I did.
You might have ADHD.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think that's ADHD. A symptom, but like the anxiety.
Yeah, and
about
like
that kind of stuff and the rumination.
Yes.
Yeah.
And like I was so stuck on it because I can even remember like thinking back to that time, so many like my parents, they were like, Kelsey, this isn't essential.
It's just the thing you got stuck on.
Right.
You were obsessing. Yeah.
Yes. And I think it was also this like I don't know, like it was my first time moving away from home and out in the world, and so I was like, I have to be stable, and like as if my parents wouldn't have helped me. I have amazing parents who totally would have helped me if I needed it.
Hyper independence.
Yeah.
There's one, there's another one.
Yeah. I have like a bunny trail about that if you want it, but the hyper independence later.
Go ahead. I mean, this can be we can just cut it.
Okay. Wait, it can be about as many things as you want it to be. Just use it for your purposes. I will never forget, this is so funny. The very first time that I went home to my parents' house, like for the weekend after I moved into my dorm, I brought some of my laundry and I brought my detergent with me because I was like, oh, I just didn't want you to feel like, Mom, that I
was coming home to mooch off of you because you're my mother.
Right. Why did I do that? My mom laughed so hard at me. She was like, Kelsey, why are you bringing your own laundry detergent? Like, we have laundry detergent. This is fine. Again, I feel like people are going to be like, if you don't know my parents, they're like, these are red flags, thinking that, like, my parents were... They're not. They are great.
No,
it was me.
It's the hyper independence, right?
Yeah.
Just, I don't need anyone. I have everything taken care of.
And, like, I have to make sure that everything is taken care of.
Which can lend itself to sleep deprivation.
Yes.
Not even in college.
Yeah. So this is how that worked out for me, is that as a freshman, I was working like probably 30 hours a week at the local IHOP. And the only way that I was able to like go to class and get all those hours in is that I was working overnight.
I remember this.
So I would like be done with class, have a little bit of homework time. I would go into work at like 4-ish, like 4 p.m., 4 or 5. And then if you've ever been a waitress or a server, sorry, whatever it's called, you know that like you have your shift, but then you often have to do like side work after that, and you have to like, you know, do your cleaning tasks and like maintenance things for the restaurant after that. So even if I was cut off the floor at like 1, I was probably there until 2 a.m., like rolling silverware, cleaning, refilling like food bins, whatever. So that was my routine. Like I was working at least 3 nights a week, like 4 p.m. to 2 a.m. And then because I am also really high strung and very like high achieving, I was like coming home and like doing homework after that and going to bed and also I was like so gross because I've been at IHOP for 8 hours where they're like cooking bacon. Ugh, if you've ever worked at a breakfast place, you know, like that bacon grease, holy cow, it just like soaks into all of your clothes, your hair. Like there's just no way. You have to come home and shower. So I'm coming home, showering. By then it's like, you know, 2:30, and then I'm sitting down to do homework until like 4 a.m. And then I'm going to sleep. I'm like taking a nap essentially, and then I'm waking up like a dead person at like 8:30. My roommate is literally like opening the mini fridge under my bed, handing me a Monster drink while I'm still in bed for me to crack open and sip on to make it to my 9 a.m. class. So stupid. So stupid.
I mean, just not informed, right?
Yeah, really ill-informed.
And we think we're invincible when we're young.
Oh yeah.
We're like, we know this is bad, but not for me. I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm young. I'm gonna live forever. It's amazing.
And also my mindset was, this is what college is about. Yeah. Everyone's doing this.
Everyone's doing it.
Everyone's doing this. And for me, like, I wasn't a big partier, like that just, I wasn't into that. But I knew that like a lot of people were doing that. And so I was like, this is like the responsible version because I'm making money.
So kind of stay up all night because I'm making money.
Yeah. Oh, and I'm not hungover. I think I would have rather been hungover than as tired as I was,
it can feel like you're drunk when you're tired enough.
Oh, yeah. So, what makes the story even worse, actually, I don't even remember if I told you this at the time, because it was like a in-passing conversation, but if we're really going to get into it, these were like the real consequences.
Yes, them all. Tell them all.
Yeah. So, I had a full ride to UCA. Full, everything was covered, like even my books and housing.
Board,
Yes. And after my freshman year, I like maintained my scholarship, but like barely. It was so stressful, so stressful because I realize now I was just operating as like a fourth of a person because I was so sleep deprived, and like my whole life I've been like, you know, like I loved school, like in high school, and I really like learning. I was always like high achieving academically. I was like the honor roll kid, like got really good grades and tested well and all that stuff. And so when I came to college, it wasn't even that I felt like, I remember saying to my mom, it doesn't feel like the material is hard. It feels like my life is hard.
I wonder why.
I know. And my mom is telling me.
Know all of this. Did she know
not
that you
extent.
were getting like 3 hours of sleep a night and then hammering a Monster?
Yeah, she didn't know the extent of it. I think that she knew I was working too much. And so she was saying to me, like, Kelsey, you can like cut these hours in half. Like, you don't have to work this much. Because really, the only thing I needed money for really was just like spending money. That's all I needed. Like, my food was paid for, my housing was paid for, my school was paid for, like everything was paid for.
But you wanted to feel safe.
Yes, I wanted to feel safe
on your own terms.
Yes. Yep. Yeah. So, I don't like, obviously the people around me in my life could see like she's really tired, but it wasn't very many people that really knew. And the other people who really knew was like my roommate, who's also 18 and knows nothing. Like, you know what I mean? So,
Did
yeah.
you lose?
After my
after
sophomore
this
year
situation that you're about to, okay.
Yeah, so this is what happened. So I like limped along through my freshman year, like barely made it by the skin of my teeth, like holding on to that scholarship. And then my second semester, or my first semester sophomore year, so my second year came around, and towards the end of it, the wheels were starting to fall off. And I even remember there was a day that I like showed up at church, and this woman who's like known me my whole life, and she is an ER nurse. She looked at me and said, Kelsey, you cannot keep going like this. I have watched doctors that I work with who have like been so sleep deprived because of like the shifts that they're working. She's like, I have treated them having a seizure in the middle of the ER because they haven't slept enough, and I'm telling you that that's where you're headed. And I just remember thinking,
you didn't tell me this.
I know.
Oh.
I've like thought about it more since I knew we were going to do this. And I was like, yeah, there were so many things. There were so many things. And I just remember thinking like, she's like old. And like, everyone's doing this. I'm in college. This is what everyone's doing. Yeah.
Those
like,
doctors were old and they couldn't handle it.
Right.
Like,
well, and
you
also
just make excuses.
Yeah, you do. And also I thought like those doctors are probably like way more sleep deprived than I am. Like, I'm at least sleeping solid amounts. I know, terrible. And also, let's just talk about this.
Because your brain wasn't working because you didn't have enough sleep.
Yeah, okay, and that is the other thing that you and I talked about, where it was like, I did get to a point where I can look back now and realize, like, I genuinely was not functioning, like my critical thinking was just gone. Because I can look back and be like, I was, like, you know, young and dumb, but I wasn't that
next level.
Stupid. Yeah, like, and I was making stupid decisions, like, it just makes no sense. Anyways, so the end of my first semester, sophomore year, I like lose consciousness one day, and I was like, oh my gosh. And I had also, the reason that I thought to myself, like, I wonder if this is a seizure, is because I had some seizures also when I was in high school. But also, now that I look back on that, I bet that was also sleep deprivation related, because, so I went to the doctor, like, when I was a teenager, the first time I ever had a seizure, and basically they were like, you know, you're under a lot of stress. I had recently been diagnosed with PTSD, and so they were like, you're under a lot of stress, like, we think that this is, you know, like, emotional, basically. But also, you know what a symptom of PTSD is? Lack of sleep. I wasn't sleeping. But again, I'm like 16, so I'm not thinking through all that.
And there's like some ties to ADHD with that too, and so, I mean, it's just like this mad circle. Yeah,
so when this then again happens, when I'm probably 19 at this point, I'm like, oh, I think that was a seizure. But I had been to the doctor for it before. Everything was always inconclusive. I still think I'm invincible, so I'm just like,
you lost consciousness where?
I was in the student center.
Okay.
So, like, in the middle of a lot of people. It was very embarrassing. Very embarrassing. Yeah.
That was the first thing. It's embarrassing.
Yeah.
I feel like I probably need to go to the hospital because something's wrong with my brain.
Yeah, no. Just embarrassed.
So, before we go on, I just want to comment. Like, I just want to point out.
Yeah.
There's a deterioration here. It's like, oh, I miss a few hours of sleep. And then your executive function goes downhill. Then your critical thinking. And then you...
Yes.
And it's just this slight decline.
Yes.
And then your thinking is getting worse this whole time.
Yes.
And so quality of sleep can also help with that. I can talk a little bit more about that. But it's not just about the hours, but... just seeing this progression, I think, is really important for people to understand. Like, you're not operating at 100%. If you have ADHD and you're doing a job you hate, you're definitely not operating at 100% as it is. And so just, it all adds up
Yeah.
to create.
The perfect storm.
So you pass out. You're like, not a big deal. You didn't tell anybody.
I think I told my friends.
Your college friends.
Yeah. Yeah, like
Yeah.
my 19-year-old friends.
They were like, oh, it's fine.
Yeah. Something else important to note here probably is that at the time my parents were living overseas.
Mhm.
So I talked to them. Oh, no.
That's good. That's great.
That could probably be edited out, right? Just a
I
little
don't know.
Photoshop.
It's fine. That's how it is. It's
So sorry.
not your fault. I need to learn how to drink coffee. No, I'm not going to edit this out. This is me.
This is what makes it real.
And this is what you get if you coach with me. Real.
Yeah.
And so you don't have to be embarrassed. I will take on all of that. Go ahead. So your parents were overseas.
Yeah, my parents were living overseas, so like, I'm pretty close with them, so I would call them and talk to them. But I mean, it wasn't like we were just. I wasn't going home like
Yeah,
every
you didn't
month
have-
or
Like a place.
right.
That may have lent itself to the hyper independence as well.
Yes. Well,
Yes.
yeah, and also because so my freshman year, my parents were living in the States like temporarily.
Mhm.
We had been living overseas. They came home for 1 year to like get me into college, and then they moved back the summer after my freshman year. So yeah, like as a freshman, I knew that was the plan. I knew they were going to be moving back overseas. So I think that did probably.
So some of this
also-
stuff starts to make sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
So not to say, hey, I was stupid and young, but like if you think about it as a whole, it makes sense that you were fixated on all of this. And
Yes.
You were just making everything
Y-
make sense so that you could do the thing you were focused on,
Yes. Right.
which is what, again, get outside perspectives
Yeah. Yeah.
that are not from people in the
Other
same
18-year-olds.
position. No matter what time of life you're in. If
Yeah.
you're talking to other moms who are equally as stressed out and sleep deprived,
Yeah.
maybe they're not going to have great advice. You
Yeah.
know? So maybe, and don't blow off the old nurse,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
Because
yeah.
she's old, or the
Right.
doctors are old, or like,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah. Well, and to be clear, she's not actually old.
But she was
When I
to
was
you,
18,
but
I was like, you're
right,
like
you
40.
thought, like, take perspectives from lots of people.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because when you're in your own tunnel, especially when you're sleep deprived,
Yeah.
you'll make sense of anything.
Yeah. Absolutely. Totally true.
So you passed out in the student center.
Yes. Yeah. So that was the first instance. And then a couple of weeks later, I want to say this would have been like maybe the very beginning of second semester. I was really like not feeling well. I know.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Say
So-
more.
Yeah, exactly. And I remember, like, I literally just blew off everything that whole day. Like, I called out of work. I didn't go to class. I was supposed to meet up with some friends for lunch. I didn't do that. Like, and I literally just stayed in bed and slept, like, all day long because I was so exhausted. Like, I was reaching a breaking point. So I hadn't, like, eaten or really, had a lot to drink that day. And so I finally wake up at like 4 or 5 p.m. and I'm like, oh my gosh, like I've been in bed so long, I just feel like I need to go take a shower. So I get up, I go to take a shower, and then the next thing that I remember is that I am laying on the bathroom floor, but I'm like very, very disoriented. And so my first thought is like, I don't recognize where I'm at. Like, I don't realize where I am. And I had already gotten undressed to like get into the shower. So like I'm undressed, and also there's like blood all over the floor.
I don't remember this part.
I don't even know if I told you all these details, but I thought, my initial thought is I'm waking up, I don't know where I am, who I am, and this is the situation, and I am like, I've been kidnapped, or like something
Beat up.
terrible has happened. Yes, yeah. And so I just like lay there. The adrenaline was insane, and I'm just trying to think like, what do I do? I'm like so quiet because I'm thinking like, I've been taken by someone. Like, what if they're on the other side of the door? Like, I'm panicking. Finally, after a few minutes, I kind of come around and come to and realize, like, oh, this is my bathroom. And then I realize, like, the blood's coming from my mouth, from my nose. And I'm like, oh my God. And then I'm realizing, like, I'm not hurt anywhere else. Like, it really is just from my face. And so I, like, start knocking, like, on the bathroom door because my roommate was, like, outside. And so finally she, like, hears me and comes in and she's like, oh my gosh. My roommate was my best friend at the time, so
that's good.
that was good, yeah. And I, like, had gotten a towel on myself. But, like, yeah, so I realize, like, especially because of how disoriented I was, like, I was still very confused and, like, yeah, just, like, not fully with it. I was like, I don't think that this was just me passing out. Like, this feels more like when I've had seizures in the past, because I'm very disoriented afterwards. Like, I do feel kind of sick, like, leading up to them. And, yeah, anyways, that's the story of how I have a fake, like, half of my front tooth, because what happened was that right before I stepped into the shower, I lost consciousness. And I hit my face on the metal, like, towel rack that was, like, screwed into our wall. And so that, like, chipped my tooth. And then
that's where the bleeding was.
Yes, and it, like, the
like,
corner of it. No.
Okay.
It was, like, my nose. Like, I hit my nose. And then, you know, because I'm totally limp and, like, unconscious.
Yeah.
I didn't try to catch myself from falling at all. So I just smacked my head against the floor. Yeah. So, at that point, that was way worse. I was afraid my nose was broken because, like, I had this gash across the top of my nose, like, lots of bruising under my eyes. And so I was like, I'm going to have to go to the doctor, so I'm going to have to tell my parents about this. And so that is how my parents ended up finding out. My nose was not broken, thankfully. My tooth was chipped. I did have to get some dental, like, work on my front teeth, but yeah, so that's when I ended up telling my parents, and that is also when they were like, Kelsey, something has to give. You cannot keep going like this. Your physical health is literally deteriorating, and so something is changing here. So at that point, I, again, was, like, really, you know, hyper independent, stressed about the money stuff. I legitimately, as a 19-year-old, I had, like, I want to say it was like $6,000 or $7,000 in savings. And so I quit my job, took that semester off of school. My roommate and I, like, moved out into an apartment together, like, mid-semester. And I just, like, lived off of my savings for a year while I was going to neurologist appointments and all kinds of doctor's appointments to, like, yeah, and they found absolutely nothing wrong with my brain. I'm not epileptic. I don't have, like, anything that, like, physically can, you know, explain why I have these seizures. And so, you know, they get to the end of it and they're like, you know, if you really are not physically taking care of yourself, this is a way that the body will just absolutely stop you in your tracks, because essentially, if you will not yield to any of the warning signs that it gives you, your body will just start shutting down on you and forcing you.
Zero.
Yeah, exactly. And this was the thing also that I was thinking about that's so ironic about this, is I was so consumed with, like, I have to make this money and have this savings and be secure. And, like,
all gone.
It's all gone because I had to live off of it for, like, a year. And the irony is that I wouldn't have even needed that amount of savings if I had not just completely, like, run my body into the ground for the 2 years leading up to that 1 year that I needed those savings. Like, I created the situation in which I would need this savings by building up all of this savings money. So, yeah.
And this, I love that you pointed that out, because this is the mentality that you get when you're like, I can't budge on my sleep. I've got to do this, and I've got to do this, and I've got to be on this board. I've got to chair this committee. I've got to, whatever it is, or I have kids and I have to make sure they're asleep. And then
Yeah.
I have to finish work at night, which I get it. I've been there.
Yeah.
And if you're in it, I'm not by any means saying that it's easy when you're in a corporate environment that is expecting you to be an overachiever, or you're
Right.
in college and you have these expectations.
Yeah.
The same thing happened to me. I drove myself into the ground over money, over a corporate job, over proving everyone that I was enough
Yeah.
to make that money,
Yeah.
and I hit ground zero.
Yeah.
And guess what? All that extra money
It didn't matter
didn't
anymore.
matter because I had to take like several
Yeah.
months off to recover from burnout.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
When if I had just done what was within my realm of what I could do and not burn myself out and it wasn't just sleep. Graves had some stuff to do with that, but I don't even know if I would have gotten an autoimmune disease if I was taking care of myself correctly. I don't know.
Yeah.
But it causes a lot, and it's important to notice the signs.
Yeah. Yes.
When you're feeling fuzzy and it's not that you're sick or you're not hormonal, because hormones have a lot to do with it too. Just taking note of how you're feeling every day.
Yeah.
And that's part of what I want to do with this course, is just have people be accountable for like just watching from an outside perspective, watching what's happening.
Yeah.
Thinking about your thinking and thinking about what's going on with your body and how you're feeling and what your thoughts are doing, because that's another thing. Well, even if I try to go to sleep early, I can't. Well, let's first of all figure out, are you doing all the external things that are good for sleep, like having the temperature down low, making sure everything's dark, not having screens in your face for an hour before bed, all these things. And if that's not happening, what are your thoughts like?
Right.
You know, can we do some calming exercises? Are there supplements, magnesium, things that are pretty simple?
Yeah.
And so knowing is power.
Yeah.
But thank you for your story. That is... So
wild
have
one.
you ever gone into like, have you ever slipped back into that at all since
No,
then?
I actually haven't. And I've not had a seizure since, I want to say the last time was my senior year of college. I did end up going back. I took a year off and then I went back and finished my last 2 years. And I was very disciplined about sleep. I had a bedtime, like self-enforced bedtime, and it did not matter. Like if I had an assignment unfinished and it was due at midnight and I was going to get a 0 on it because I didn't finish it, that sucks, but that's what's going to happen. Yeah. Like I went to bed at 10.
Oh,
so,
what would happen if that was the case? What happened after that?
So I would like get a 0 for the thing, but because I was functioning so much better, like so much better, my grades were so much better, I could absolutely take a 0 for one assignment like in the course because I had an A or a B on everything else. Like, yeah.
Or you have enough wherewithal to go and vouch for yourself. Or,
Yes.
If you're being disciplined, you can point to, oh, this is what was happening.
Yes. Yeah. I think that when I was a junior and senior, I met with every single professor I ever had at least once. Like, because something like that would happen or whatever, and I would just be like, hey, like, this is where I'm at. Is there anything else I can do or whatever? And like, and that went so much better.
Yeah, and even if you got a no, at least you tried, right?
Yeah.
Instead of being hyper independent and being like, no, I can't talk to anyone. I have to do it all on my own.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So junior and senior year went so much more smoothly, and I am still paying off those student loans because I did lose my scholarships after that incident in my sophomore year.
So you mean that $6,000 you saved?
Yeah. Ended up being a real loss because then I had to pay for my junior and senior year. Yeah. So, yeah. And here I am, almost 30. I'll be 30 next month. And, I don't regret getting my degree. Like, that was a good choice for me. But Yeah, I mean, I'm still, to this day, every single month, I pay a student loan payment, and I could potentially have graduated with zero debt. And so, I mean, that's still an ongoing consequence that I'm experiencing however many years,
Is
10
there
years later.
is there any, looking back, is there anything that you can think of that someone could have said to you to keep you from getting down the road that far and and
Yeah.
collapsing and like losing everything?
Right. I mean, okay, I think it's hard to
Because the
say,
nurse
obviously.
tried, right?
Yeah, the nurse tried.
But it's you were kind of far gone by then.
I was far gone by then for sure. And then also, I think the thing is that people could have told me, like, this isn't healthy for you, you shouldn't be doing this. But unless someone said to me something that really addressed the core fear or the drive that's driving me to do these things, I don't think it would have been very effective. But if someone would have, like, asked me, I guess, like, why are you doing this? Like, why do you feel the need to work this much and push your body in this way? I could have said, like, well, it's because of this. And I guess if someone that I trusted or, like, valued their opinion would have said, like, hey, that's not actually, like, you're holding yourself to this, like, expectation as an 18-year-old that really other 18-year-olds are not, and is not essential or really even realistic.
Yeah. And
That
you're
would've-
isolating this one thing when all of this other, like you said, you ended up using the $6,000 and then you lost everything else and you had to get student loans.
Yeah.
None of that entered the equation for you.
Right.
And that's why I wanted to have this conversation with you. Because
Yeah.
a lot of times we just think we get so hyper fixated
Yeah.
on doing the one thing that we don't think about all the healthy eating, for example.
Yeah.
Well, I don't have time to make healthy meals. Well, you're going to have to take that time to go to the doctor.
Yeah. Yes.
Or the money. Like,
Yes.
it's got to come from somewhere.
Yes.
And I know that I don't say that lightly because a lot of ADHDers don't like to cook, and I'm one of them, right? But we can eat some vegetables.
Mm-hmm.
We can take vitamins. We can
They make them
move our body a little
bags.
bit more so that
Yeah.
everything's functioning a little bit better. There are
Yeah.
smaller things that you can do, and we're also really big on all or none.
Yeah.
It's either I work out for an hour
that,
or I don't work out at all. Like, this is not,
Yeah.
the world doesn't work that way. So
Yes, that is like one of the biggest things that kills me just in my life in general. Now, I would say, it's the all or nothing mindset. It drives my husband nuts.
Yeah.
Nuts.
Oh, something else, and I didn't want to interrupt you in the middle of this story. You
Oh, you're
mentioned you hadn't had water and you hadn't eaten.
Oh yeah.
And then just this slow progression of the red flags that you ignored.
Yeah.
A lot of times, and I know you haven't been diagnosed, but we've talked about
Yeah.
whatever. And
Diagnosed
you can have
unofficially by Leah.
have symptoms, and you can. It's a scale, right? ADHD is a scale. So one of the things about ADHD, I think a lot of people don't know, is that it messes with what's called your interoception, which is your bodily senses, even emotional senses. And you won't know you're hungry or thirsty. If you're so fixated on a thing, you're going to ignore all of that, even if you're not. And I'll give you an example of the emotional stuff. When I first got married, apparently my husband would do things that would just drive me insane, and I didn't know that they were bothering me until like a, what is it, the needle in the haystack.
Yeah.
And I would just explode.
And you mean the
like,
straw that broke the
"What,
camel's back.
the straw that broke
Yeah.
the camel's back. And I was like, he goes, where'd that come from? I was like, I don't know.
Yeah.
He goes, how can you not know this thing has been bothering you? I don't know.
Yeah.
This is another symptom that a lot of people ignore. Just trying to learn to sense things. And it's hard, and that's why coaching is important, or therapy. And we went to a therapist. She's like, you're going to have to start listening to your brain when you're upset about something. I'm like, but I don't know how.
Yeah.
Well, you're going to have to learn.
Yeah. Yeah. It can be learned. It can
Yes,
be
it
learned.
can, because now and it's a lot of times physical, right? If
Yes.
I get tense and I'm like, oh, I notice I'm tense. What's bothering
Yeah.
me about this situation?
Yes. I hold my
So,
breath.
Yeah.
So I'll be in a situation and all of a sudden I'm like, oh my gosh, I feel like I can't breathe. It's not that I can't breathe, it's just that I've
You're
been
not
holding
breathing.
my breath. Yeah.
But when it
Yes.
comes to eating and sleeping and drinking water, sometimes it does take your significant other or your friend, your roommate,
Yeah.
whatever, to be like, hey, it's time to eat.
Yeah.
You can set alarms. Those often don't work either. But yeah. And you can teach yourself to just do it regularly.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I don't know. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah.
Of
course.
I didn't tell everyone what Kelsey does in the beginning.
Oh
Because I
yeah.
was so excited about her story. But she is a phenomenal wedding planner.
Thank you.
And she ended up in that career just because she was so awesome at it and people kept begging her to do it, which I think is phenomenal. So
Yeah.
it goes to, like, if you love something and you do it really well, then you can get paid for it.
Yeah, yeah. I would say that it's funny, like, we've talked about my, early adulthood. I've, like, taken quite a journey from my time in college. I thought, whenever I was in college, that I wanted to be a social worker because I'm such a people person. I love people. And I just wanted to, like, help people where they're at. So, yeah. And then I actually ended up being in, like, kind of a similar but different job as soon as I left. I was in ministry, so still helping people, but not like through the state system. And then felt like it was time to move on from that. And so during my time with the ministry, though, I got a lot of really good like event planning and executing experience. And so after my daughter was born and I was kind of trying to decide what to do with myself, I just thought like, man, I have always really, really loved getting to work with people, do something meaningful for them, and I am such a girly girl. I love, love, love a wedding, and so I kind of put myself back out there into the wedding coordinating world, and so I've been doing that for the last, year-ish.
Okay, I called you a planner. Coordinator.
Oh, it's okay. Well, I offer partial planning services. I have different packages. So if anyone is interested in that or
We're
needs that info.
we're in Central Arkansas, but
Yes.
I don't know how far you go.
I'll travel anywhere within state. I just charge a bit of a travel fee if I'm an hour outside of Central Arkansas.
If
So
you're like me, I did do my own, but that's because I wanted to save money and
yeah.
I lost a lot of weight. Speaking of, like, probably didn't
Yes,
sleep and
yeah.
lost a lot of weight. So don't
If you
do
don't
that.
want to lose sleep over
Or
your wedding,
have
I'm your
seizures
gal.
or
Yeah.
chip your teeth or good lord.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Of course, I guess running up to your wedding and if young and dumb, like, you think losing weight, it's good. It's good.
Yeah, you're
This
like,
dress
oh,
is
this is-
amazing. Look at my skin.
yeah. My hair may be dull, but
my
my
goodness.
God, this dress
Right.
is fitting.
My hair's falling out, but I look great in my dress.
Yeah, exactly. Oh man. But yeah,
The
thank you for
things
that.
we tell ourselves.
Yeah. It's amazing how effective we can be at being delusional. Just
Well,
really
yes.
convincing
Again, it's the
yourself.
slippery slope.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
And I don't know if I'll do this today, or I guess we could cut it up, but the biggest thing I teach in my course is not so much, I don't harp on the amount of hours, which is important, but what they're finding is to get quality sleep, you have to do certain things. And one of those things is, and I don't know how many people know this, but they're finding out that the simple act of going to bed at the same time every night
Yeah.
can increase your deep sleep, which is like the street sweeper for your brain, because that phase happens in the first hour. It begins like in the first hour of your sleep, and the biggest section, it happens repeatedly through the night.
Yeah.
The biggest one happens then. So if your body's used to going to sleep at the same time every night, it'll know what to expect. Hey, I'm gonna get that phase.
Yeah.
And if you pass that time of night, you're going to skip that phase.
Yeah.
So, and I'm guilty of it. Like on the weekends, you're like, no, I don't have to get up in the morning.
Yeah.
But every single morning I wake up, I'm like, I know better. Like I teach this,
Yeah.
and now I'm tired all day because I didn't get the street sweeper.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah,
That'll get you.
and it messes with your cognitive function and all of that stuff. And so for any brain, but especially for the ADHD brain, we need all the help we can get.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I feel like this was very fluid.
Okay, good.
Hopefully
I'm glad.
everyone gets something out of it. I don't know. Do you have anything else you want to add that you remember, or?
I don't think so. I guess maybe the one thing that I could say is I'm 8 years removed from that whole time of my life. And since then, I have been incredibly disciplined about sleep. I have to sleep. I prioritize sleep over a lot of other things. And even now, like, I'm a mom. I went through the newborn phase of, like, really tough sleep deprivation happening then. But, like, I did absolutely everything that I could.
Did you sleep when she slept?
Yes.
They always say sleep when they sleep.
know.
And I'm guilty of. I didn't. I was like, I have to clean. I'm neurotic and OCD, and like I can't. Get into this.
I know. Well, and that is hard.
But I also didn't go through what you went through.
Yeah. I started like a night routine where I went to bed at 6 or 7 p.m. every night. And then my husband did like that initial like shift with the baby until she would go to bed at like 10 p.m. and that was like her longest stretch until she'd sleep till like 2 a.m. And then I would get up and feed her at 2 a.m. and then go back to sleep and wake up with her every time she woke up to feed after that until I would sleep in until like, 9, 10 or whatever. So, and then I would be up like during the day. So if she slept during the day, I was trying to like get in a shower or eat or whatever. But yeah, I mean, it was very, it was a tight run ship in my house during newborn time. But because of what I went through, I was honest, like I was scared. I was really scared of that newborn sleep deprivation time.
Bringing back the...
Yes. Yeah. So, yeah.
That's what I worry about, people saying, oh, well, that won't happen to me, and then it's still happening, which you can't stop. But I think if we share more stories like this...
Yeah.
Because I was never aware that you could have seizures from sleep deprivation.
Yes.
I knew that when my friend, the Instagram reel that sparked this conversation,
yes.
when she was like, I had 3 hours of sleep, and she had driven in here.
No, ma'am.
Like, why? Why
No,
did you even drive
ma'am.
after that? Like, I am hyper aware of that. And like just intrusive thoughts that you have when you're sleep deprived.
Yes.
We didn't even get into that, but
there is so much more we could get into. Yeah.
These thoughts are like, oh, that's not a normal thought. That's what's wrong with me.
Yeah.
Maybe that's one of the first signs. Like if you're sleep deprived and you're having thoughts that aren't great.
Yeah. Scary thoughts sometimes.
I'll just share.
Yeah.
I would get so tired at my last corporate job that I would be like, man, I really wish I'd get hit by a semi.
Oh my gosh. I remember.
And then I was like, what's wrong with you? Well, you're tired.
Yeah. I remember that I would be driving to work, driving to school, driving wherever. And I would think, like, it would be so nice if I could just get into a terrible car accident. Like, not enough that I would, like, die, but just enough that I could, go be in the hospital and just sleep.
Just for sleep.
Yes. Yeah.
No, I wanted to sleep.
Yeah, just an FYI. If you're having that thought, that
was another question I wanted to ask. Do you know, like, what the progression is? And I think that might be one of the first things. Like, if you're that tired endlessly, you might be having thoughts that are startling.
Yes, yeah.
And you might be afraid to tell someone about it because they might think something major is wrong with you.
Yeah.
It might just be sleep.
Yeah.
So, anyway.
Yeah.
I think I've gotten all of my questions and everything out, but I don't know.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you.
Of course.
For
This was
sharing.
fun. I love talking with you.
I love talking with you too. We were talking about doing a podcast about nothing, but I don't know. This
Maybe we should do a
We're not
podcast about
Seinfeld.
our lives, like funny
Yeah,
little
maybe.
antidotal. I feel like between me and you, we have
Listen,
plenty of
I
content.
have a lot of stuff I could share about.
I could share about my almost repainting my whole house last week.
Yep. And she stopped herself, so it is possible.
I did stop myself. Yeah, lots of funny,
Yeah,
entertaining
let us know
content
if
over
you want to
here.
hear about it.
Oh man.
Thank you so much, Kelsey.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for having me. This was fun.
Thanks. Yeah, I had a lot of fun. I guess I'll sign off and say I hope you watched at least some of this. If not, you'll come back and watch more and take care of yourself. Maybe you're not having seizures, but maybe you're having some red flags that you didn't know were red flags. And if you have questions about other symptoms of sleep deprivation, I'm sure you can Google it, but I'm happy to talk to you about things that I've experienced or things that I've had clients talk about, because it can be very personal. Like the symptoms you'll read about online are very high level. Like I said, I never had heard about that before, and so just take care of yourself. Thank you.